Part 53. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 522. The great omniscience and the absolute hitting characteristics of the Southern Cross mean that no defense can be effective. If the Wizard of the Southern Cross is equipped with good attack methods, he will become the most terrifying assassin. The Southern Cross assassin is someone that none of our 7 gods want to face. I have to say that the wizard is the most troublesome apostle. To achieve eternal life is to become a star master, the master of a certain planet. We all thought that a certain word spirit would be the first to achieve immortality. Word spirits study the secrets of planetary movements every day. They are the most familiar with the planets, but we did not expect that it was the Aries wizard Ptolemy who took the lead. Wizards are also studying the starry sky and the celestial bodies in the starry sky. They are studying the more distant stars and the constellations composed of stars. Stars and planets may be similar to some extent, and may involve some high-level secrets. The abilities of wizards are so weird. Among the southern constellations, the abilities of several constellations have touched the boundaries of world power, or in other words, they have mastered some authority at the level 5 apostle stage. Phoenix, Southern Cross, and Southern Carina all have incredible abilities. At least the 7 gods couldn't figure out why the Phoenix wizard could be resurrected, or why the Southern Cross wizard could ignore defenses. There are too many unknown secrets in this world. Unlike you who know everything, you know everything. Word Spirit, Wizard, and Silver Snake, these 3 apostles are called the 3 apostles of fate by Ptolemy. I don't know why specifically. At this point, Snapping Turtle was suddenly stunned because he remembered the word destiny and didn't know what it had to do with the child of destiny. The 3 apostles of destiny, this is the first time Rudolph has heard this statement. The relationship between Yanling and fate is relatively easy to understand. Yanling is good at divination and curses, and is the apostle closest to fate. The wizard is very powerful, but he doesn't know what it has to do with fate. In Rudolph's opinion, even if it is related to fate, it is bad luck. People who are targeted by the wizard mean that the relics may be taken away, which is really bad. What about the silver snake? What does the silver snake have to do with fate? Rudolph thought of Abigail, who tortured him and clawed so much. There was no doubt that the silver snake was powerful. It was the apostle that brought him the most trouble that Rudolph had ever encountered. Could it be that the silver snake could change other people's lives? Destiny, or any entanglement with other people's destiny. The snapping turtle continued. Most forces will find ways to control the 3 apostles of destiny in their own areas. Needless to say, Yanling is used by various forces as astrologers and is an indispensable intelligence officer for each force. Silver Snake is also tightly controlled, preventing Silver Snake from causing chaos among men. Most of the people in power are men, and an out-of-control Silver Snake is very troublesome. As for wizards, the slogan "Wizards must die" has been sung for thousands of years, and witch hunting has become a consensus. As long as witches are hunted, knights and alchemists can be friends on this matter. There is another thing that all the major forces are working hard on, and that is the organized elimination of the inheritance of wizards. Burn low-level wizards, especially those who dare to take on apprentices. For wizards above level 5, the main method is to destroy the wizard. After thousands of years of purges, many of the zodiac secrets of wizards have been lost, making the promotion of high-level wizards extremely difficult. Of course, great omniscience, this is nothing to you. As long as the knowledge that has ever existed, it belongs to the category of omniscience. The Phoenix secret and the Southern Cross secret are not secrets to you. If it weren't for accompanying Destiny's Child, I think you would have been promoted to a level 6 wizard long ago, right? Snapping Turtle received no response as before. Quanzi was on his way in earnest, probably wanting to return to the Destiny Child as soon as possible. By the way, great omniscience, I have told the ugly woman to give her order to her priest not to tell the story of the death of the 6th level priest, so that others will not know that you accommodate the characteristics of the Southern Cross. This is me and the secret of an ugly woman. That ugly woman is easy to deceive, her mind is full of bugs, and her whole body has been wormed. You have a heart. The apostle's power on the card was exhausted and turned into an ordinary card again. One corner of the card was hit by an oracle beetle, causing damage to the card. No one will be nice to others for no reason. I don't know what I will get in the end after paying so much through fraud. The Martini Islands, thousands of kilometers away from Rudolph, have a large lake on the largest island in the archipelago, and there is an underwater glass tunnel in the large lake. Inside the tunnel is an old wizard walking upwards, leaving his underwater palace. The end of the tunnel is on the shore, where two level 6 Xuanhuan wizards are waiting for their teacher. The tunnel slowly rose up on the shore and turned into a glass corridor. Bharat, the level 7 Northern Heaven wizard, walked out of the corridor. After standing on the ground again, Bharat looked south, towards the Southern Cross on the horizon. Level 6 Xuanhuan Whale Wizard Wells asked carefully from the side, "Teacher, has the Southern Cross wizard really appeared? He is not strong enough and cannot feel the surge of star power from such a long distance." Bellator nodded, "Yes, the Southern Cross wizard, the Phoenix wizard has appeared. It's nothing. The Phoenix wizard is just immortal, but the Southern Cross wizard is different. The Southern Cross wizard is too aggressive. Anyone in the Southern Cross, it's not safe in front of wizards, and all defensive methods are ineffective. Be careful when you act recently, and I can't protect you, and it's useless to give you any good defensive magic weapons." The two level 6 wizards looked at each other and saw surprise in each other's eyes. Wells said, "Teacher, the evil god cult told us that they will launch a war of return, and the evil gods will return to their northern continent. The evil god cult asked us to express our position and let us stand on their side." Belath shook his head and said, "Don't rush to make a decision. Wait for the result of the battle between the evil god cult and the Elba Royal Navy, and then we will talk about it." "Understood, teacher." Finally, looking at the direction of the Southern Cross, Belath walked back to the glass corridor and walked towards his lake bottom palace. In the port of Navali, the clippers of the Golden Anchor family were driven out of the port. They could only anchor in the shallow sea and stay on the sea surface, waiting for the distinguished guests handed over to them by the butler. One night, after a sonic explosion, a figure appeared on the deck. "Captain, take me to the Penzance Islands now." Penzance Island, that is the location of the pirate conference and the island of the pirate king Baali. Listening to the name, the pirate king seems to be a woman. It is not easy for a woman to become the biggest pirate. After giving the instructions, Rudolph went to the cabin to rest as he was very tired from the journey. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 523. Penzance Island, the richest pirate island in the Sargasso Sea, because the owner of the island is the pirate king, Baoli, who sells magic arrays. The three most important systems of a pirate ship are the power system, the weapon system and the magic array system. The power system determines whether the pirate ship can catch up with the prey, the weapon system determines whether the pirate ship can suppress the armed merchant ship, and the magic array system determines the defensive ability of the pirate ship. Alchemical reinforcement magic arrays are rare goods, and they are high-end goods urgently needed by rude pirates. Pirate King Baoli is a defected level 6 alchemist who is good at making alchemical reinforcement magic arrays. Pirates may not be rich, they have to risk their lives to rob merchant ships. The Pirate King must be rich, because she robs the pirates' money. The Pirate King's alchemical reinforcement magic array highlights a strong and durable and high price. If a pirate offends the Pirate King Baoli, the Pirate King will even take the initiative to give his enemy a high-level reinforcement magic array. The reward is simple, that is, his head. When Rudolph first landed on Redbeard Island, except for Redbeard's castle, there were low and chaotic wooden sheds on Redbeard Island. After more than half a year of governance, most of the buildings on Redbeard Island are now low and neat wooden sheds, and there are also some brick and stone houses. But Penzance Island is different. Many of the buildings on this island are brick and stone. At a glance, at least half of them are brick and stone. This proves that the pirates on this island have a stable life, otherwise they would not consider brick and stone buildings. The Pirate King actually provided his men with the most rare sense of security for pirates. There is a very tall council-style building near the port of Penzance Island. It is worthy of the defected alchemist to build a council hall. At this time, in the council hall of Penzance Island, a group of people quarreled and cursed in a smoky manner, which was completely unworthy of this building that was not inferior to the city hall of the northern continent city. Each pirate captain was allowed to bring 5 men. In addition to the top 10 pirates, some powerful pirates were also invited. The stench in the council hall continued. The dirty pirates were crowded in a house. The smell of sour clothes, the smell of oily hair, the unique smell of alcohol and sweat after a hangover, the bad breath of not brushing teeth for a month, etc., made the decoration of this council hall lose its color and exposed its essence. No matter how much it was built like the council hall of the northern continent, it was a pirate building. What's worse is that the council hall is about to quarrel. The oak long table that Bao Li got with great difficulty is full of spit, which makes her very sad. These dirty pirates are not worthy of such an elegant solid wood long table. It would be more appropriate to give them a few coffin lids. Pirate King Bao Li, who was sitting at the front of the long table, frowned and was in a bad mood. She shouldn't have insisted on letting the pirates fully express their opinions. Now, these opinions are too fully expressed, which is no different from quarreling. Their quarrels gave Bao Li a headache, which reminded her of the time when she became a teacher after graduating from the Alchemy Academy. Those younger students had endless quarrels, but the people quarreling here were not those innocent and cute students, but pirates with blood on their hands. If Bao Li had not sat in the front with a dark face, those pirates would have drawn their swords and chopped each other. The pirates had different opinions on how to deal with the ultimatum of the evil god cult. Bao Li turned her head slightly and looked at the Black Baron Basha. The Black Baron Basha came from the kingdom of Elba and was a persecuted knight. After his land was taken away and he became a pirate, Basha got promotion opportunities again and again in his life of licking blood on the edge of a knife. Now he is a level 5 knight. Basha cherishes his noble blood and title very much. After becoming a pirate, his behavior is still the same as when he was a noble, wearing an exquisite dress and a silver wig. Noticing the sight of the pirate king Bao Li, Basha nodded slightly, indicating that he would abide by their previous private agreement. Pirate King Bao Li certainly has her own attitude. She first found the Black Baron Basha whom she knew before. Fortunately, Basha had the same attitude as him. He did not take the opportunity to retaliate against the entire Elba nobility. Instead, he wanted to regain the title in some way, and then duel with his enemies to resolve their hatred in a noble way. Baoli got Basha's reply and reached out to ring the alarm bell on the table. The sudden sharp and piercing bell made the pirates in the meeting hall cover their ears one by one, in great pain. This is the alchemy product of the 6th level alchemist Bao Li, with amazing power. After the bell ended, Bao Li slowly said, according to Henry Morgan's pirate code, as the largest pirate force, I summon you at the moment of life and death of pirates. Pirates also have a code of conduct. According to the oldest pirate code, the pirate captain must be the first to board the ship when hijacking, and the crew who betrayed the captain will be chopped up and fed to fish, etc. Pirate captains, please restrain your men. This is my meeting room. Follow my rules. Next, the pirate captains will speak in turn to express your attitude. The Pirate King's bell was very effective. The pirates who had just been arguing in the back stopped talking and stood there honestly, waiting for their captains to speak and for other pirate leaders to express their opinions. The Black Baron Basha was about to speak and set the tone for this pirate meeting, but another pirate spoke first. Basha sat on the right side of Baali, and the pirate who spoke sat on the left side of Baali. Ha! After a high-pitched, pirate-accustomed shout, Roberts, who left no one alive, attracted the attention of others. Leave no one alive, this is Roberts's title, which means that he only wants treasures and not people when robbing. Every ship he robbed will leave an empty ship and corpses floating on the sea. Robert's strength as a level 6 giant earned him the second title of Undersea Giant. A 200-meter tall giant lurks in the deep sea, is good at water, and tears open the belly of the enemy ship every time he attacks, while the poor people on the ship can only see the terrible huge black shadow on the water. Roberts looked around at the other captains with a grim face. What is there to discuss about the ultimatum of the evil god? Of course, we will stand on the side of whoever is stronger. Look at the Elba royal family, they look like they are about to die. They were forced too much by the Alchemy Council and had to restore the throne by force. Now with the attack of the evil god, King Carloman XVI of Elba will not live long. Of course we will join the evil god and plunder the nobles of Elba. I heard that those nobles have accumulated wealth for hundreds of years and their wealth is amazing. Follow the evil god, plunder Elba, and let our ship sink because of too much treasure. What a happy thing it is. Treasure. Women. Good wine and good meat. Isn't this the eternal theme of pirates? Robert's words of leaving no one alive resonated with many pirates, and there were voices of approval in the meeting hall. Robbery is the main business of pirates. In the eyes of many pirates, the war between the evil god and Elba is a plundering feast that cannot be missed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 524. Follow the evil cult and rob Elba. No one left alive. Roberts looked at the reactions of everyone in the meeting hall with satisfaction. Everyone liked to respond to everything. What he said touched the hearts of many pirates. As a giant, he hides from XZ when his level is low, and both knights and alchemists can easily handle him. Later, he couldn't stay in the northern continent anymore and went to sea to become a pirate. Who can understand how difficult it is for a giant walking on land to adapt to the sea, but he found a way. The deep sea is very deep. He can make fuss on the bottom of the sea and attack other ships from the bottom of the sea. The viscous sea water can also provide him with protect. Quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. When a giant more than 200 meters high appears, no matter how big the ship is, it becomes a toy. Roberts hated the God-chosen apostles in the northern continent the most. He wanted every one of them to die. At this moment, Black Baron Basha used his powerful knightly power to make a war cry, "Shut up! Shut up!" Seeing the livid Black Baron Basha, the pirates knew that this pirate must have objections. Basha's voice was high, and his silver wig was trembling. It's not about wealth now. It's not about women. It's not about wine. The problem now is that the evil cult can't wait to return. How many cavalry lives did Alec the Great use to drive the evil god into the sea? How could this happen again? We are all wandering in the Sarago Sea. Don't you know that the believers under the rule of the evil god cult are stupid fools? Do you also want to become such a stupid idiot, and finally be turned into a fanatical believer by the evil god, and then become the thugs of the great priest? The pirates were not used to this pedantic nobleman, and they all made jeers. Black Baron Basha's face was ashen. If he hadn't been on Penzance Island, he would have killed all these pirates with a single charge. A stout man kept wagging his finger. "I, Port Disaster Morgan, oppose Black's opinion and agree with Robert's opinion. We should follow the more powerful evil cult to plunder the northern continent, not for some bullshit knight tradition. Go die." Basha looked at Morgan's wagging fingers and felt extremely insulted. However, this Morgan was someone he was very afraid of. Morgan was also a knight, but he scorned the tradition of knights. He was an illegitimate son, killed his father and fled to the Saragossa. The title port disaster comes from Morgan's preference. He found that robbing merchant ships was far less profitable than robbing ports, so he always kept an eye on various ports, which caused a great headache for the port owners. I, Cotton Jack, support Roberts's opinion. To hell with the chosen one in the northern continent. A sixth-level troubled priest who broke away from the church, Cotton Jack likes to suffocate prisoners to death with wet cotton cloth. It is said that this is how his parents died. I, Eric the Red, support Roberts's opinion. Eric in Red, a level 6 vampire, has no windows on his big ship, which is his castle. Robert's expression became more and more exciting. He didn't look at Black Baron Basha at all, but glanced at Polly. Of course he knows the purpose of Pirate King Polly's gathering of the top 10 pirates. If you want to listen to the evil god cult, you can just report to the evil god cult when the time comes. The evil god cult will definitely like so many pirate ships. BlackBelly's purpose is to organize pirates to fight against the evil cult. This is so stupid. It is not clear who is strong and who is weak. It is such a simple situation. And the ally she chose, the pedantic knight Basha, became a pirate and thought he was a noble baron. How ridiculous. I'm open to Millie and support Roberts's opinion. A tall woman stood up, her breasts bulging out of proportion to her thin figure. No one dares to look down upon this woman because she is a level 6 ascetic priest. Her cold face and plump breasts gave her a strangely contrasting beauty. She had a bad habit, that is, after every murder, she would take off her shirt and expose her breasts to prove that it was a woman who killed him. It's okay not to give this kind of benefit before death. Robert stood up and expressed his gratitude to Millie. Then he turned to Polly and said, "Your Excellency Pirate King BlackBelly, you have engraved alchemical reinforcement circles on pirate ships over the years. You are the benefactor of the pirates on the Saragossa, which I admire very much. At the pirate conference you convened, I think we should abide by the ancient pirate code. Since more than half of the big pirates believe that we should follow the evil god cult to plunder the northern continent, then this is the final decision of the pirate conference. Among the top 10 pirates, there are already 5 big pirates who agree with me: Port Disaster Morgan, Cotton Jack, Red Eric, and Chestless Millie. After the death of Red Beard, there are only 9 of the top 10 pirates left. No recognized big pirate has appeared for the time being. Even if the remaining big pirates all agree with Black Baron Bosch's opinion, it is still 5-4. I think this matter is nothing." Objected. BlackBelly is 50 years old. Her eyelids are droopy and she seems to be in pain. Among these people, she didn't expect that Eric in Red would also side with the evil god. Didn't the vampires tell Eric in Red that they should fight against the evil god together according to tradition? Or is it that the vampires are also ready to take action, and they also want to see chaos in the northern continent? Wait. I have something to say. Poor Sailor Drake stood up. Roberts raised his hand. "Please, Mr. Drake." His behavior was as if he was the master here and the convener of the meeting. Roberts couldn't help wanting to become the next Pirate King, and his desire was written on his face. Poor Sailor Drake was a level 5 plague carrier. He was not strong in combat, but he became the person everyone wanted to please on the Saragossa with his medical skills. Drake said, "There is an ancient rule in the pirate code: every fisherman has the right to raise a scimitar and a harpoon to become a pirate after being oppressed. This is the freedom that fishermen exchanged for their lives. Now, the evil god cult threatens to clean up all the pirates on the Saragossa. This is an infringement on the freedom of pirates and a denial of our existence. After following the evil god cult, are we still pirates? You guys also have evil god priests. I now doubt whether you can use divine arts because you have never left the church. Some of the evil god priests will commit acts of blasphemy against the evil god, or retreat in the power struggle and be expelled from the church. But strangely, the priests who were expelled from the church can continue to obtain the blessing of the evil god with devout faith, and these expelled priests are more extreme than the priests of the church. Cotton Jack said leisurely, "Drake, don't be excited. We must hate the church more than you do. The great God has not given up on us lambs who have left the flock. This does not mean that our interests are consistent with the interests of the church. The story of the poor sailor Drake is very inspiring. His family died in a fight between two fishing villages for fresh water. He became an orphan and joined the pirates. Finally, with the help of the pirate ship doctor, he became a plague carrier and then took the pirates to avenge his parents and uncle. He has the purest recognition of pirates. He likes pirates so much and is the pirate who abides by the pirate law the most." Pirate King Bowley looked at the black-robed man at the end of the long table. "Green Skull, what about you? Let's not talk about the result first, talk about your opinion first." Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 525. Seeing all the pirates looking at him, Cooper felt a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, he had no flesh on his face and no expression, otherwise he would have been very embarrassed. These things were all handled by Rudolph in the past. Rudolph couldn't get here last night and he had to show his face. This was not his strong point. At this time, the dull Cooper realized that 5 big pirates from Robert's group were sitting across from him. There were only 3 big pirates on his side, Black Baron Basha, Poor Sailor Drake, and him. It seems that when they first came in and sat down, the 5 pirates opposite had already decided to advance and retreat together. Cooper was stalling for time while thinking about how to answer, since the Pirate King asked me for my opinion. This thought process was interrupted by Roberts, because Roberts had an expression that it didn't matter what you say, as if to say, whatever you say, it won't affect the 5-4 vote anyway. Roberts, like the other giants Cooper saw, liked to be shirtless. His body was wider than a chair, and he sat much taller than the others, looking down at Cooper. Cooper turned his head and looked at Poor Sailor Drake. Being a pirate and having such a thing as the pirate code, why hadn't he seen it before? If what he said was different from what was stated in the pirate code, would the secret be exposed? Everyone knew that the fleshless green skeleton was a little slow, so they waited patiently for a few seconds. Cooper knew it would be rude to keep others waiting, so he had to speak. "As you know, I have been imprisoned by the evil god cult for more than 10 years. It is impossible for me to join the evil god cult. Do you know how I spent those 10 years? Oh, Cotton Jack, you should know that you are also a trapped priest and know what it feels like to be imprisoned for more than 10 years. I put my words here today. If we reach a consensus to fight against the evil god cult today, then I will fight against the evil god cult together with you. If I can't achieve that, then I will fight against the evil cult on my own. My friend Forge has said that he is sworn in with the heretic cult, and so am I." As soon as these words came out, the pirates in the entire conference hall roared and complained in various ways. Robert smashed the long table several times to get everyone to be quiet. He was unwilling to hear this. "We came to the Pirate King's meeting hall to discuss, isn't it to come up with a common attitude? If the 10 pirates all act alone, how can those kingdoms and churches be afraid of us? You are violating the thousands of years of pirate tradition in the pirate book. If you follow the resolutions you agree with and violate the resolutions you don't agree with, then what's the point of this pirate conference?" Cooper spread his hands and said, "You're right. It doesn't make any sense, so let's leave." "Pirate King," Roberts turned to the end of the long table, "I suggest that the Green Skull be deprived of his status as a great pirate and punished. He is blatantly violating the pirate code." Pirate King Polly was non-committal. "Of course, she would not deprive the Green Skull of his status as a great pirate together with others. That would increase the power of the pirates who surrendered to the evil god cult. She felt that the situation was very bad, and the pirate conference had become a place for the evil cult to recruit pirates. Looking at Eric in red again, Polly felt that it was necessary to report the situation to the people in the northern continent and let them ask what the situation was like in the vampire clan. Zachary behind Cooper was stunned. Is Captain Greenskull so direct that he will leave the meeting if he disagrees? He quickly lay down in Cooper's ear, whispered a few words, and made some suggestions. Oh, how could I forget this? You told me yesterday. Cooper, who had just stood up, sat down again. My subordinates told me that according to the pirate code, after killing the big pirate, the seat of the dead big pirate will be taken away by the winner. I killed Redbeard with my friend Forge. Cooper waved his hand, a corpse behind him took off his cloak, revealing a red beard. Cooper looked back at Redbeard, and then said, I admit that the maintenance of Redbeard has not been very good recently. He is a bit grey and has lost a lot of beard. However, Redbeard is indeed my collection now. Since you want to talk about principles, traditions, and the code, then talk about it. The furnace killed Redbeard and then obtained Redbeard's voting rights. There is no objection to this, right? Before attending the pirate conference, Forge authorized me to exercise my voting rights on behalf of Forge. I voted for Black Baron Basha for Forge. Now it is 5-5, a tie. Pirate King Polly has not expressed his position yet, but everyone knows that the Pirate King is on the side of the northern continent. So now the vote is 5-5. Green Skull, you must be an old fool, Roberts said angrily. Who allows the Forge to exercise Redbeard's voting rights? The position of a great pirate is not so easy to obtain. In addition to killing the previous great pirate, it also needs to be recognized by Saraguhai. The accepted way is to carry out a famous robbery in the ancient sea, and then obtain the approval of the pirate conference. Usually when a powerful pirate appears, the pirate conference will admit him. This gives the pirates an opportunity to communicate, so that they won't fight each other as soon as they meet. Everyone is here to make money. It's better not to work hard if you can. It's different now. Roberts doesn't want to cause trouble at this time. Who did the Forge plunder? Which fleet did it plunder, or which port did it plunder? Only once the raid is approved will a vote be taken to admit him at the pirate convention. Forge is still far from becoming a great pirate. Where does he get the right to vote, and how can you vote on his behalf? Cooper had a headache. It turned out that you didn't have to kill the previous big pirate to become a big pirate. There were so many troubles. Cooper was stupid and didn't really know how to refute Roberts. He was thinking in his mind, oh my God, where is Rudolph? Come and be my mouth substitute. Rudolph didn't use swear words when swearing, but it was unpleasant. Just when Cooper didn't know how to answer the call, the door of the conference hall behind him was suddenly knocked open. Recognized by Saraguhai, a voice came in. Is this recognized enough? Along with the sound comes an ear. The ear hit the table with a thud. The moment they saw the ear, the 5 people across the long table stood up together. There were 3 or 5 bugs crawling on that ear, and these bugs were going in and out of the ear hole. The evil priest instantly recognized what it was, and the wizard who came in deliberately used star power to activate the relic, allowing the relic to reveal its level. The relic of the level 6 insect high priest. I heard that you need to be recognized by the ancient sea to become one of the 10 great pirates, so I went to the southern continent before the pirate conference. Rudolph stood next to Cooper and looked around at the strange pirates in the conference hall. Let me ask you, is it enough to plunder the insect church and hunt for the relics of level 6 priests? Can this be recognized by you? Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 526. The bugs were still crawling in and out of the bloody airs. No one knew where the blood came from. Even though the ears were cut off, so much blood could still flow out. Looking at the relics of the level 6 priest of the insect nest, cold sweat immediately appeared on the faces of several level 6 priests. They could not help but be afraid. As level 6 priests who had left the church, no matter how powerful they were, there was one thing they could never compare to the priests of the church, that was the oracle protection on the priests of the church. The priests of the church managed the parish on behalf of God. They all carried the sacrificial rituals given to them by God. Those rituals could not only hold sacrificial activities, but also allow them to be blessed by God. And priests who had left the church, such as Cotton Jack and Bare-Chested Miri, could only accumulate faith through bloody sacrifices and gain the attention of the evil god. Now, the relics of a level 6 priest were taken away by a wizard, proving that the wizard not only defeated the level 6 priest, but also broke through the oracle protection. When they looked at the furnace again, their heartbeats could not help but speed up. Where did this wizard come from, and why could he kill a level 6 high priest? Impossible, Cotton Jack couldn't help shouting, "Where did you buy the relic? You must have bought the relic somewhere, it can't be a hunted relic." Rudolph looked up and down at Cotton Jack, as if he was looking for which part of Cotton Jack would become a relic. He looked like he was choosing whether sirloin or top of the head was more suitable for steak. Cotton Jack's scalp was numb from being stared at, and he couldn't help covering his cotton belt. Others saw the furnace nod. They actually understood what the furnace meant by nodding, and the furnace seemed to be very satisfied with the relic. Rudolph frightened Cotton Jack for a while, then smiled and said, "This pirate should be the level 6 trapped priest Cotton Jack. If you know where to sell level 6 relics, please tell me. I am very rich and will not miss such an opportunity." Cotton Jack was looked at with a panic. In theory, he was the most restrained immortal green skeleton and phoenix wizard, but now he was a little afraid because he didn't know how the furnace got this relic. "You must have sneak attacked a priest. Is it important? If you think so, then please stay focused and don't be distracted, otherwise you will be sneak attacked by me." Seeing the fearless appearance of the furnace, the bare-chested Mirai moved her hips uneasily on the chair, her shoulders rising and falling, making her heavy chest tremble. She said, "Furnace, can you hunt for level 6 relics? I remember the intelligence said that you just became a level 5 Southern Phoenix wizard. I think the Southern constellation is very interesting, so I have been suppressing my realm, otherwise I would have been promoted to a level 6 wizard long ago. Some level 5 wizards suddenly become weird and powerful in the level 5 apostles. Some wizards will deliberately suppress their realm to accommodate more characteristics of the Southern constellation. Of course, this is based on his mastery of many secrets and relics. Some level 5 constellation abilities are still very useful in higher level battles, because some constellation characteristics are close to the limit of logic or power." Rudolph ignored Morgan, the port disaster among the 5 pirates on the opposite side, because he was a level 5 knight. Instead, he looked at the level 6 apostles on the opposite side one by one, leaving no one alive: Roberts, Jack in cotton, Eric in red, and Mirai in bare chest. This is a naked threat, the threat that the apostles hate the most. Every apostle was afraid of being hunted by wizards. Not only would they die, but wizards would also use their relics to advance or make them into magic tools. Their death could help the enemy become stronger, and they would not be able to rest in peace. Rudolph's eyes kept flickering, as if he was thinking about what tactics to adopt if he took action now, and immediately hunted for a few relics. Cooper on the side felt that the atmosphere was too depressing. The entire meeting room was as cold as falling into an ice cellar since the appearance of the level 6 relics. He even wanted Rudolph to restrain himself and not show his badness so obviously. The Pirate King Baoli at the end of the long table looked at the furnace with admiration. This was the troublemaker she wanted, no, it was the person she wanted to lead the atmosphere. Robert suddenly stood up, and the chair was knocked away by his legs. It was 3 times as tall as Rudolph. It seemed that only by standing at this height could Roberts relieve the current embarrassment. He shouted, "Furnace! Don't be so arrogant. Your status is not enough to be so presumptuous here." This shout made even the crystal lamp on the ceiling jingle. Rudolph scratched his ears. The giant's voice was really loud. He slapped a gun on the table. "Is it enough with this?" It was a black gun, the very famous Moon Eye obsidian. Roberts had heard the legend of this gun. This gun was very difficult to deal with. No matter who faced this gun, it would be very troublesome and easy to be hit. The famous gun of the Alchemy Council of the Carolingian Kingdom, the Moon Eye obsidian, fell into the hands of Furnace. It seems that this information is true. BlackBelly stared at the gun in confusion. If she saw it correctly, the act of slapping the gun on the table just now had some broken paint leather. She was an alchemist, so she knew that the Moon Eye obsidian was a very delicate gun with a complex automatic aiming system. How could such a famous gun be treated so roughly? Rudolph just didn't want others to know that the Moon Eye obsidian had disappeared, so he made a fake one. "Roberts, others are afraid of you, but I am not afraid of you. Since you do not allow me to inherit Redbeard's seat, then our feud is settled." Rudolph turned to the other pirates. "If I become a big pirate, out of respect for the Pirate King, I will follow the pirate code and maintain restraint and tolerance at the pirate conference convened by the Pirate King. I will never attack the pirates participating in the meeting, otherwise I will. The ancient tradition of pirate conferences has caused a huge blow, and it will be difficult to hold pirate conferences in the future. If I am not one of the big pirates, then I'm sorry. I will break off all relations with the Green Skull now, and I will have nothing to do with you big pirates from now on. This pirate code cannot restrain me." Cooper lowered his head. It doesn't matter if he doesn't want such a friend, but why should he break off the friendship just for a few level 6 relics? I ask you now, besides Roberts, who else disagrees with me inheriting Redbeard's seat in accordance with the pirate code and becoming a big pirate on the Saragosse? The big pirates on the opposite side stopped talking, and no one answered Rudolph. "In that case, I'll name it. Cotton Jack, do you agree or disagree?" Cotton Jack's face turned purple when his name was called, as if he had been poisoned, which was very exciting. Why did such a powerful wizard suddenly appear? Not only was he holding a level 6 priest relic, but he was also so powerful. He gritted his teeth and had to say, "I agree." "Okay. Next, open-chested Millie, do you agree or disagree?" Millie didn't hesitate, she immediately said, "I agree." The situation suddenly changed dramatically, and Millie felt that she needed to reobserve and not go head-to-head with the rampant wizard. The Forge obviously has a trump card and is confident that he can really kill the big pirate here. "Eric the Red, do you agree or disagree?" Eric in red stretched out his hand and pinched his nose. The bloody smell on Furnace's body was real. Through the secret technique of the Blood Clan, Eric could identify the bloody smell. Furnace had just experienced a war and killed a big shot not long ago, so the smell on his body was the bloody smell will linger for a long time. "Agreed, Your Honor, Lord Forge." Rudolph was stunned. How could he be so polite? This honorific was a turning point, and Morgan immediately followed up with the following words. "I welcome a pirate as powerful as Mr. Furnace to become one of the top 10 pirates on the Saragosse." Rudolph nodded with satisfaction and put away the level 6 relics and the black revolver on the table. "Please prepare a chair for me, Pirate King Polly. I can't wait to discuss important matters with my colleagues." Black Baron Basha turned his head and stopped watching the Furnace performance. He felt his teeth were sore. This Furnace was so shameless. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 527. The Pirate King's men brought up a chair and placed it next to the green skull for the Forge to sit on. This move confirmed Rudolph's identity as the Great Pirate, and no one would doubt him anymore. Roberts could only watch. He sat down slowly and had to pinch his nose to accept the outcome. After the furnace took out the level 6 relic, he was already strong enough to be treated as a level 6 apostle. Such a person wants to be a great person. Pirates, Roberts can't be stopped. Polly looked at the furnace with satisfaction, and then said, "Furnace, please express your opinion and see if your opinion is more convincing." "Okay, Your Majesty." The Pirate King Rudolph stood up. This time, he was no longer aggressive, but was ready to really convince these pirates. "I want to ask you first, there have always been pirates on the Saragosse. What is the basis of pirates' existence?" After giving these pirates some time to think, Rudolph continued. "The basis for the existence of pirates is that the northern continent and the southern continent belong to different forces. The Saragosse is a gray area between the northern and southern continents. It is a gray area that the Knight Empire or the Alchemy Council in the northern continent does not want to get too involved in. It is also a gray area in the southern continent. This is a zone where the evil cult in mainland China is unwilling to expend energy. As pirates, the condition for our existence is that the northern and southern continents are in equilibrium. Whether the southern continent is too strong or the northern continent is too strong, the pirates are the first to be struck. This was recognized by the pirates. They were rats living in a gray area and were not tolerated by both parties. So, the Kingdom of Elba in the northern continent is now in a civil war, and the Kingdom of Elba has become extremely weak. At this time, the evil god cult launches a war against the Kingdom of Elba. Elba is already weak. If he is easily defeated, then what ending will we face? If Elba is defeated by the evil god cult, then the Saragosse will become the inland sea of the evil god cult. The evil god church will occupy Elba's land and the southern continent on the north coast of the Sara Ancient Sea. Our living sea area will be wiped out. The evil god cult will definitely not would allow so many pirates on his inner seas." Rudolph pointed at the evil god priest Cotton Jack and the chestless Millie opposite. "If the Saragosse becomes the inland sea of the evil god, the two of them will most likely repent to the evil god and return to the embrace of the evil god. But what about you? You guys? Where are the other pirates?" After looking around at all the pirates, Rudolph shouted, "Wake up, pirates! This is not following the evil cult to rob Elba, this is digging his own grave. The day the evil god cult wins is the day our pirates will be cleaned up. It is true that we can plunder for a few months by following the evil god cult, but then, we will become a thorn in the side of the evil god cult's inland sea. If it were you, wouldn't you clean up the pirates on your inland sea? My attitude is extremely determined. In this war, we must definitely fight against the evil god cult, help the weak Elba Royal Navy, and fight against the evil god cult with its overwhelming numbers." Rudolph saw that many pirates had finally begun to wake up from their fantasy of plundering Elba, and pursued the victory. "Now, Cotton Jack, Chestless Millie, you two make a statement. Based on your understanding of the evil cult, what's the next step for the evil god religion after its victory in the war?" Cotton Jack thought to himself, whatever he said next, he might not be human inside and out. Cotton Jack didn't want to express his position at such a critical moment, lest he become the target of public criticism. He turned to look at Roberts. This kind of matter should be decided by the smarter Roberts. I recognize Roberts' judgment. Rudolph smiled. As we all know, giants only know how to smash, smash and loot. Let's take a look at the special case among giants. What insights does the smart Roberts have? Faced with Rudolph's ridicule, Roberts remained unmoved. At this time, he calmed down. He said, "According to my information, the furnace has a close relationship with the noble Golden Anchor family of Elba. How do you prove that you are not inciting the Golden Anchor family to trap the pirates?" So according to your intelligence, do you know, the alchemist from the northern continent and I almost broke our brains. You can't do it because of me? I guess my purpose based on past interactions. Roberts, you are old, but I am still young. I will still be a pirate for decades. You are different. Maybe you will die of illness in a few days, or be beaten by someone unknown. If you die, you don't care what happens to the pirates in the future, but I can't care. I'm a new great pirate. Robert's face was so ugly. Are you threatening me? Huh? Furnace. Are you saying you can make me die of illness, or can you let me be beaten to death? That's too much. You are forcibly slandering me, as if your future death will be all because of me. Although he said this, Rudolph couldn't help but feel excited in his heart. This is a level 6 giant relic, the relic he needs to advance to the level 6 mid-heaven serpent wizard. However, whether he should rush for promotion is still a question. He also wants to try Nantian. Nantian is one of the 3 strongest wizards in Nantian. He doesn't know what the secrets of Nantian are. Cooper couldn't help but pull Rudolph's sleeve. He didn't know what was wrong with Rudolph. Ever since he entered this meeting hall, he couldn't hide his emotions and exposed his thoughts several times. Cooper could tell, and so could the people in the meeting hall, that the furnace was thinking about the relics again. He looked at Roberts and talked to Roberts, but what he was thinking about must not be the content of the conversation, or the evil cult's ultimatum, but the evil cult's ultimatum. Something else. From the way Rudolph scanned Roberts's forehead, throat, and heart, his purpose was self-evident, which was Roberts's relic. As if noticing the fearful expressions of others, Rudolph pulled the corners of his mouth and smiled. This smile made the other pirates even more afraid. A level 5 apostle actually put so much pressure on the pirates in the room. It was all because of the level 6 relic. Can anyone prove that the relic was just picked up by the furnace, or lost by the Church of the Insect Nest? In this way, there is no need to be so afraid of the furnace. After a gentle smile, at least that's what Rudolph thought, he stood up. I think I was too euphemistic, now I'll be more direct. Everyone here, or everyone standing here, you have all been oppressed by the northern continent in the past. It's the same for me, I have also been harmed by the alchemist. The alchemist harmed me, I can solve my enemies in a physical sense. But the evil god cult is different. If you want to take revenge on the evil god cult, it means you need to clean up the evil god's faith. If you don't kill the believers, you can't send the evil god away. You all have a lot of blood on your hands. Can you kill tens of thousands of believers in a city? Kill them all? The consequences of the evil god cult winning the war are too terrible. If you want to send the evil god cult back to the southern continent again, it will be a catastrophe for every city. Don't trust the promises of the evil god cult. When the north and south banks of the Sarago Sea are full of evil god believers, the soil for the survival of pirates will no longer exist. You will all be liquidated by the church for not believing in the evil god. The church will not allow people who do not believe in the evil god to still control so many ships and so many guns. At that time, you will have to sacrifice your life's wealth to exchange for a fanatic quota in the church, and linger on as cattle and horses for the church. Wake up! This is not for anyone in the northern continent, this is for yourselves. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 528. Now that the top 10 pirates have expressed their attitude, let's vote now. Pirate King Baali saw that the atmosphere was almost heated, so he initiated a vote. Those who agree to follow the evil cult to plunder the northern continent, raise your hands. The 5 big pirates sitting next to Roberts raised their hands. This was their purpose here. Rudolph was not surprised by this. On such a major matter, no matter what Rudolph said, he would not be able to change the attitude of the hostile people in a short time. 5 votes. Pirate King Polly was not surprised either. She shouted again, "The big pirates who agree to fight against the evil cult and maintain the status quo of Saragosi, raise your hands." Black Baron Basha, Poor Sailor Drake, Green Skull, and Furnace, 4 people raised their hands. Pirate King Polly also slowly raised his hand while everyone was watching. 5 votes. Polly said again. According to the ancient pirate code, when the attitudes of the big pirates are seriously divided and the vote is tied, the Pirate King enjoys the right to the second vote. I will give my second vote to the party in favor of maintaining the status quo of Saraguhe. In other words, with an advantage of 6 votes to 5, this pirate conference made a decision that all pirates, from the moment they receive the order from the pirate conference, rush to Penzance Island to fight together against the evil god who plots to control the Saragosi. Teach. After the news was announced, the entire meeting hall fell into silence. In any case, declaring war on such a behemoth as the evil god cult immediately made the pirates panic. Robert's face was extremely ugly when he was not left alive. He originally wanted to replace Polly as the Pirate King, but Polly controlled the alchemical reinforcement circle of the pirate ship, and not many captains would agree with his ambition. Now the identity of Pirate King Polly brings her convenience and allows her to win legitimately. Polly looked at the first big pirate on her right, Black Baron Basha. "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolution of the pirate conference?" Willing. Not only Basha, but also the main members of the pirate group behind him excitedly shouted yes. Poor Sailor Drake, "Are you and your pirates willing to abide by the resolution of the pirate conference?" Willing. Green Skull, "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolutions of the pirate conference?" Willing. Forge, "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolution of the pirate conference?" Willing. This was agreed upon, and Polly turned to her left. Miri, "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolution of the pirate conference?" Facing the eyes of a room full of pirates, and facing the pressure of hundreds and thousands of years of pirate code, she had to say, yes. Eric the Red, "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolution of the pirate conference?" Willing. No matter what Eric in Red had thought before, he wanted to continue to be a pirate on the ancient sea of Sala in the future, but he had to bow his head at this moment. He also added, "I, Eric the Red, am willing to follow the pirate code. This is the foundation of pirates and the only order followed by chaotic pirate ships." The words of Eric in Red made the pirate captains at the rear who were present but not strong enough to praise him. In matters of life and death, the pirate captains must act in unison, otherwise they will be annihilated by the official forces. Cotton Jack, "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolutions of the pirate conference?" Willing. Cotton Jack had a dark face, but there was nothing he could do. There were many crew members who were not priests, and he did not have the means to create fanatical believers to restrain those crew members. If he violated the pirate code, his pirate group would fall into chaos. The pirate code stipulates many obligations of crew members to the captain and is a good helper for the captain to manage the ship. Port Disaster Morgan, "Are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolutions of the pirate conference?" Willing. Morgan didn't say much. In this situation, he couldn't refute. Finally, Polly looked at Roberts. "No one alive. Roberts, are you and your pirates willing to follow the resolution of the pirate conference?" Roberts shook his head and said, "What else can I do? I am willing." His expression changed, he closed his eyes and rolled his cheeks, obviously struggling. Pirate King Polly waited patiently for Roberts. The attitude of this big pirate was crucial. Roberts suddenly opened his eyes. He seemed to have made an important decision. "I, Roberts, hereby declare that I will follow the ancient and wise pirate code, implement the resolution of the pirate conference, and declare war on the evil god cult." At this moment, even Rudolph had to sigh, "This is a hero." "Okay," Polly looked around at all the pirates. "I, the Pirate King Polly, hereby announce that every big pirate's flagship will get a chance to purchase a level 6 alchemy reinforcement array at half price. All the pirates looked sideways. They didn't expect the Pirate King to be so courageous and cut off his flesh like this in order to fight against the evil cult. A pirate captain sitting in the back shouted, "Dear Pirate King, can we get a level 5 alchemical reinforcement array?" Polly smiled and said, "Okay." Those who had just questioned the Pirate King's 2 votes could no longer say anything. The Pirate King had done this, and he was worthy of being the Pirate King with the most resources on the ancient Sea of Sarah. Please prepare individually and sail your pirate ship to my Penzance Island as soon as possible. My students and I will draw or repair the alchemy circle for you. I will also reply to the evil god cult on your behalf. War. The top 10 pirates are in sync. The pirates on the ancient Sea of Sala do not accept threats. Either sink the ship or hang the enemy's head on the mast. According to tradition, the big pirate bangs on the table like crazy on the deck of a ship. The pirates in the rear kept cheering and licking blood from their swords. This was the life of the pirates. Even the evil god cult could not make these bloodthirsty pirates surrender. After the pirates left in public, the Pirate King's men approached Rudolph and said that the Pirate King wanted to see him. In the Pirate King's office, Rudolph met the Pirate King. Sitting in this office is like sitting in an alchemist's office in the northern continent. There are scales and various rulers here. Mr. Furnace, I wonder which force you represent. There is nothing to hide. I think the Marquis of Golden Anchor is very willing to receive such praise. I was entrusted by the Marquis of Golden Anchor to find a way to help the Royal Navy. Pirate King Polly was very satisfied with the honesty of the Furnace. She also said, "On behalf of the Elba Alchemy Council, no matter what happens in the end, regarding the evil god cult, the Alchemy Council does not want to see the evil god cult land on the northern continent so easily. No wonder the Pirate King is so generous. Perhaps the raw materials for the alchemical reinforcement of the magic circle were provided by the Elba Alchemy Council." Pirate King Polly said, "Mr. Furnace, I hope you can help keep an eye on Roberts. Don't look at what he said today, but look at what he did. I can't completely trust him." "I understand, don't worry, I will leave a bullet for him." "So, do you want some alchemy bullets? It would be great if there were level 6, level 7, or even level 8 alchemical bullets." "Level 8? Level 8 alchemy bullets can be used to assassinate Carloman 16. Of course there are no level 8 alchemy bullets. So there are level 6 and level 7 alchemy bullets. The amount of refined copper required for level 6 alchemical bullets is extremely exaggerated. Only by constantly refining refined copper can the refined copper carry so much alchemical power. The higher the level of the alchemical bullets, the more precious they are, the Pirate King said. "I can give you 1 level 7 alchemy bullet and 30 level 6 alchemy bullets. This is exactly what I desperately needed. I have a condition. This level 7 alchemy bullet must be used in the battle against the evil cult. Don't worry, I won't assassinate the Prime Minister of Elba's Alchemy Council." The Pirate King nodded. She knew from some sources that the Forge was extremely disgusted with the evil god cult for some unknown reason. The Forge was trustworthy in fighting against the evil god cult. "You have Moon Eye Obsidian. This level 7 alchemy bullet can play the greatest role in your hands. However, do you need me to take care of your Moon Eye Obsidian? You mentioned the paint peeling off. It's a small problem, it doesn't matter. The Pirate King doesn't know yet that Rudolph has become the Wizard of the Southern Cross, otherwise she might not have given Rudolph such a powerful bullet." Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 529. On the vast sea, the eastern fleet of the Elba Royal Navy is sailing towards the target sea area. After several years of replenishment, this fleet now has more than 50 ships, which have not been deployed to the front line to guard against the evil god cult. A fleet of Elba supply ships is sailing in the target sea area, preparing to deliver supplies to the port of Quarter. According to intelligence, the fleet of the evil god cult may attack the supply ship. The fleet of the evil god cult has left the port, and such a big movement cannot be hidden from everyone. The only valuable fleet in the nearby waters is the supply fleet of Elba. The tense and silent sailing originally made people feel depressed and bored. Suddenly, a shrill alarm sounded, enemy attack. Kedrick stood at the bow of his ship and saw the black spots appearing in the distance through the telescope. Each black spot represents an enemy ship at the end of the field of vision. About 70 ships, the advantage in manpower made Kedrick take a deep breath. Prepare for battle. Colonel Micah saluted and turned around immediately. The flags on the ships kept waving, passing the battle preparation orders to the 4 ships next to him. 1 120-gun ship and 5 80-gun ships were the fleets that Kedrick commanded after he became a major general. The evil god cult cleared out the spies in the southern continent, and the spies were sent to the painful priests. The painful priests used professional means to torture the entire spy network, causing the Elba royal family's intelligence network in the southern continent to suffer a devastating blow. Kedrick didn't know whether the enemy navy used the supply fleet as bait to attract the East Fleet to a decisive battle, or whether it would also solve the supply fleet of the frigate ships. Perhaps with the strength of the evil god cult, the East Fleet and the supply fleet are within the attack range. I hope that without this supply, the port of Qatar can hold on. As long as it holds on for another month until the Royal Knights enter the battlefield, the Golden Anchor family will be able to keep its military merits and the hard-earned title of Marquis in this war. The East Fleet had no reason to retreat. Since the beginning of the war, the East Fleet had been cruising on the sea and had never fought a decent battle. Their main goal was to guard against the evil god cult. Now that the evil god cult has finally arrived, these naval generals who are hungry and in urgent need of military merit have long been jealous of the West Fleet. The outstanding military exploits of the West Fleet have given birth to a marquis and 2 earls. No noble can bear the temptation of the title. The knight officers of the East Fleet can't wait to fight a big war to prove their bravery in front of the royal family. The evil god cult has no reason to retreat. The civil war in Elba is getting more and more tragic. It is said that the front line has begun to build fortresses and fight trench warfare. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. More importantly, since the civil war in Elba, only the Carolingian Alchemy Council has clearly supported the Elba Alchemy Council. Other kingdoms have remained silent, believing that this is an internal dispute in Elba. In just over 10 minutes, Kedrick could see the enemy's flagship, the flagship of the trapped church, without a telescope. The Kundan church imitated the flagship of the Alchemy Council. I don't know which crazy alchemist drew a level 6 reinforcement array for this flagship, making it extremely powerful. Airship takeoff. Fight for air supremacy. Ammunition ready. After the 2 sides reached the attack distance, a boring but bloody naval artillery battle began. The ship was lying on the sea, and rows of broadside guns fired in turn, smashing shells at the opponent's ships. The muzzle spewed black smoke, and the shells were so fast that they could not be captured by the naked eye. Only a shrill sound of breaking through the air could be heard. Some shells fell into the water, exploding a handful of water. Some shells hit the opposite ship, smashing the copper wire on the ship's reinforcement array red. In just one round of artillery fire, the 2 sides exchanged more than 2,000 shells. Don't be afraid. Alchemists control the shells for knights and also control the shells for evil gods. They don't have as many shells as we do. Hold on. The officer's judgment was correct. There must be fewer alchemists who defected to the South Continent than those who defected to the Knights. Those who defected to the Knights were at least still in the North Continent, and their living habits would not change much. As long as they spent some money to modify their files, they might return to the Alchemy Council in the future. In a naval battle with the Alchemists' Constitution Army, the artillery fire would be suppressed all the time, but it would not be the case with a naval battle with the evil gods. Sure enough, after a period of artillery battles, the artillery fire of the evil gods was no longer so dense. Forward! Forward! Under the suppression of the artillery advantage, the ships of the East Fleet slowly moved forward to provide an opportunity for the charge. As long as the right opportunity is reached, all the night fleets will start the charge and end the battle with a fearless charge. Alchemists always mock the knights' heads as stupid as iron balls, without any tactics, just rushing and reckless. However, this is the most suitable fighting method for knights. If there are many knights promoted in the rush and recklessness, they can immediately turn defeat into victory. Several ships sank in the artillery battle, the tilted hull, the sinking hull, or only the chimney exposed on the sea surface, and the sailors who fell into the water floundered in the water. All of this did not scare the knights of the Royal Navy's Eastern Fleet. On the contrary, everyone's adrenaline soared, looking forward to the next charge. Finally, the flagship waved a red flag. The battlefield was rumbling with cannons, and no other sounds could be heard at all. Therefore, the flag was an important means of command. When seeing the flag of the charge, all the knights' blood surged. Kedrick put down his visor. This knight's full body armor given to him by Rudolph accompanied him to be promoted to a level 4 knight. Now, he will become a level 5 knight in this naval battle. The belief of winning ignited in the hearts of every knight. All ships increased their horsepower, the power of the engine was increased to the maximum, and one ship after another began to accelerate. More than a dozen ships were selected to provide long-range fire support, and a full 30 ships charged towards the enemy. The knight stood on the raised bow, raised the knight's shield, and a hazy white light lit up on the knight's shield. The extreme power of the knight behind him was transmitted to the leading officer. The knight's shield blocked the cannonballs and the attacks of the opposite priests, and attacked forward without hesitation. Count Nahur took off the earl's robe and put on the knight's armor. Under the visor, he looked ugly because he saw 5 level 6 priests. There were too many, much more than Count Nahur's imagination. Except for the abstinence priests who were not good at fighting and the fraud priests who were hard to find, all the priests with combat power came. These are the level 6 priests who frequently appear in Intelligence: level 6 White Demon Priest Right, level 6 Trapped Priest Heg, level 6 Oblivion Priest Hall, level 6 Pain Priest Baz, and level 6 High Priest are not familiar people. The level 6 High Priest who was in charge of the affairs of the northern continent has died, and now he has been replaced by a priest named Schwartz. The determination of the evil god cult is written on their faces. This naval battle is their first battle, and they must win. The white light on Count Nahur's knight's gun is firm and dazzling, and he began his charge as the main general. I hope the support forces in the Intelligence can be successfully in place. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 530. After both sides approached a certain distance, they each deployed their formations, changed positions, and adjusted their firepower deployment to maximize their strike capabilities. The ship of the trapped church began to move forward. The bow of the ship was a large square iron plate with the short hammer pattern of the god of craftsmen engraved on it. The power of the view of the trapped priest in these patterns provided protection for the entire fleet. Level 6 trapped priest Heg looked at the Royal Navy opposite, and suddenly turned his head and said to the subordinate priests behind him, "If the killing had not fallen, then the one at the forefront would be the killing, and we would not have to bear such great pressure." The ships of the White Demon Church began to retreat. At the same time, the liftable light towers on their ships began to rise, pushing the light columns high in the sky. The ships of the Oblivion Church were much smaller. They shuttled on the sea, creating large and small whirlpools, which would change the direction of the Royal Navy ships and force the Royal Navy and the flagship of the trapped church to collide head-on. This was just the first batch of defenses of the evil god navy. The whirlpool on the water, the hard flagship and the erosion light beads in the air had already made ordinary sailors' scalps numb. The evil god cult understood that as long as they could withstand the first round of the knight's charge, the knight's advantage would be reduced by half when they got into a tangle. In the tangle, the church could completely eliminate the soldiers or low-level knights who provided extreme power behind the knight officers. Behind Kedrick, the knights stood firmly on the deck. No matter how the ship broke through the wind and waves and the hull bumped up and down, these knights could not move at all. This was the basic skill that knights who joined the navy must train. His fleet was located on the left wing of the battlefield and was one of the main attacks on the left wing of the battlefield. The middle formation was under the charge of Count Nahur, who would gnaw on the hardest bones, those level 6 priests. The style of the Great Knight leading the charge made the low-level knights in the back feel very safe. At least before the Great Knight died in battle, the low-level knights were safe, which was also the reason why the knights' morale was high. Main gunfire. When Major General Kedrick entered combat mode, Colonel Micah was in charge of the ship's command. When the ship charged, the main gun replaced the broadside gun and became the busiest weapon. The two barrels of the main gun kept firing and retracting to clear the target in front of the ship. Squire Marcy had already sent Kedrick a knight's javelin, and was about to enter the attack range of the knight's javelin. A guard chain flew out from Kedrick's back. It was obviously an energy body's guard chain, but it made a jingling metal sound. The chain was connected to the abdomen of the 5 level 3 knights behind him. These knights' abdomens tightened, and they hurriedly used their own guard chains to connect the chains to the rear. Layer by layer, team by team, it finally connected to the soldiers in the rear. There were still hundreds of soldiers waiting in the cabin, ready to go on deck at any time to replace those soldiers who were over-extracted. Like a huge pyramid, Kedrick was at the top of the pyramid, concentrating everyone's power on one point, on Kedrick. A white light suddenly lit up. It was a light bead on a ship of the White Demon Church. This light bead locked onto Kedrick's ship. Under the illumination of the erosion light, the copper wire of the alchemical reinforcement array on the ship turned red, which was a sign of overload. If a few shells were fired at the right time, it would be likely to break the ship's defense system. At the same time, a vortex appeared on the sea, just in front of the ship. If the ship entered the annihilation vortex, the speed of the ship would immediately decrease, making it easier to be hit. Before contacting the enemy, Kedrick felt a strong resistance, as if he was trapped in a sticky pus and could not move. He raised the knight's javelin, took a step forward with his left foot, bent his back backward, and put all his strength into his waist, making himself like a tight longbow. The hind legs stepped back vigorously, the waist exerted force, the shoulders twisted, and the arms were thrown forward, and the javelin he held tightly was relaxed at the last moment. The knight's javelin was glowing with a hazy white light, like an unstoppable cannonball, and it suddenly smashed towards the dazzling light bead. The people on the ship only saw a white line. After a few seconds, the light bead exploded, and their vision darkened. There was no light source directly shining into their eyes. The attendant Macy handed over another flying axe, and the flying axe immediately brought white light, illuminating Kedrick's armor. This armor has been with Kedrick for a long time, and there are already many scratches on it, but this does not affect Kedrick's tall figure. Silent service in the East Fleet has worn away his last childishness. Colonel Micah was a little envious. He wasted half his life and became a colonel in his 40s, while the young master of the Golden Anchor family in front of him was a second lieutenant when he just joined the army, and was promoted several levels in more than a year to become a major general. Is this world fair? No, for Major Micah, if he stood in Kedrick's position now, he would not necessarily do worse than Master Kedrick. The problem is that he could not stand in that position, standing at the forefront of the 5 ships. He could even stand beside Master Kedrick because he used to be the captain of Master Kedrick's military supply ship, and he had been to Redbeard Island for Master Kedrick several times, and he had perfectly completed the communication with Mr. Furness of Redbeard Island. By the way, Colonel Micah had not seen Mr. Furness for a long time. Master Kedrick said that Mr. Furness might come to the sea area today. The flying axe flew out and smashed into the vortex, leaving a water column several tens of meters high on the sea surface, and the vortex created by the Annihilation Priest quickly dissipated. Attack, counterattack, consume, keep observing, and look for weaknesses. This is the test that both sides will not stop before the battle. The closer to the navy of the evil god, the more Kedrick can feel the stickiness around. All the actions of the evil god make Kedrick unable to let go and charge recklessly. When countless flying insects flew up on the sea, this feeling reached its peak. Countless flying insects rose from the ships of the insect nest fleet and flew towards Kedrick's ships. There were too many flying insects, and they quickly dispersed, leaving Kedrick with nowhere to use his strength. The target of these flying insects is the knights and sailors behind him. The enemy's goal is to abolish Kedrick's knights first and break the power transmission of the Guardian chain. These flying insects are of level 5 and level 4. This is the most disgusting thing about the insect nest priests. They can create evil insects of the same level as themselves. The number is amazing, which is a great threat to low-level apostles and ordinary sailors. The knights and soldiers brandished their weapons and began to fight the evil insects that were close to them. All Kedrick could do was to use his flying axe to blast the evil insects one by one, starting with the highest level. In this way, the limit strength in his body not only stopped increasing, but also decreased, which made Kedrick realize that some danger was approaching. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 531. This is a fierce battle, a battle that will last for hours. When Kedrick rushed to the enemy ship, he was already out of breath and nearly half of his physical strength was consumed. The knights and soldiers behind him replenished his limit strength, but it was not as strong as at the beginning. When rushing to the enemy ship, you can't relax, this is the most intense stage of the battle. At this point, one of Kedrick's 80-gun ships sank during the charge, leaving the flagship and the remaining 3 80-gun ships. Kedrick must be fast, close combat is what knights are best at. The hard bows have collided, and Kedrick's ship hit the ship of the trapped church. Kedrick was the first to jump onto the enemy ship. This style of play is more like pirates. Pirates don't have as many supplies as official forces, and they like to jump into battle. When Kedrick, wearing armor and carrying a bunch of protective chains behind him, jumped into the priest, it meant that the evil god ship was not far from sinking. The knight's gun swept through the priests, and just one shot broke the lumbar vertebrae of 4 or 5 priests. Just when Kedrick was about to show his power, he looked down and saw circles with a diameter of several centimeters on the deck. This was the ship of the trapped church. Iron pillars suddenly emerged from those circles, forming a cage around Kedrick in an instant. The cage was tightly attached to Kedrick's joints, making Kedrick unable to move. He was not panicked, and suddenly absorbed more extreme power from the chain. The huge power allowed Kedrick to escape instantly, and the iron pillars were knocked crooked. However, at this time, the level 5 trapped priest had prepared his magic. Suddenly, there was a darkness around him. These darkness were like expanding clouds, instantly engulfing him. The purpose of this priest was to engulf the ship together with Kedrick, who jumped on the ship. Gathering the extreme power of his whole body, the extraction behind him reached the maximum, and Kedrick rushed towards the darkness with the knight's gun. He will use the tip of the gun to pierce the darkness. There was a roar in the darkness. People could not see what happened in the darkness, but the darkness was broken and dissipated like a dark cloud. Kedrick still stood, his knight's lance moved forward and pierced the chest of the trapped level 5 priest. Cheers rang out on Kedrick's ship. They won. Their efforts and sacrifices were not in vain. They won. The battle on this ship came to an end temporarily. Kedrick had time to observe the battlefield distractedly. This sight made him look ugly. In the middle of the Eastern Fleet, the front line in charge of Count Nahur was retreating. There were too many level 6 priests on the enemy side. Each level 6 priest had oracle protection. The huge and solid protective shield made Count Nahur have no good way. Count Nahur was a level 5 knight. With the support of the knights and soldiers behind him, he was only on par with the level 6 priests. The level 6 priests also had oracle protection. In addition, there were 5 level 6 priests against Count Nahur. Unless he was promoted on the battlefield, his disadvantage would become greater and greater. The battle line was in a stalemate, and even retreated slightly. The evil god cult had been preparing for so long, and their strength was indeed stronger than the East Fleet. After testing the strength of the East Fleet, the evil god cult found that the East Fleet was weaker than expected, so the reserve troops in the rear boldly deployed forward. The battle was in full swing, and it was developing in a direction that was unfavorable to the East Fleet. The naval battle lasted from noon to dusk. Hundreds of warships on both sides advanced, retreated, and pulled in the artillery fire. Before the alchemical reinforcement array was broken, before the shells were used up, and before the apostles' power was exhausted, the two sides had been anxiously entangled. Kedrick had performed beyond his normal performance and had killed 2 level 5 priests, but the number of priests of the evil god cult was so large that the evil god cult also understood that this first naval battle was crucial. Standing on the deck panting, Kedrick felt that his lungs were about to explode. Every breath would make his trachea and lungs feel like a knife cutting through them. This was the 3rd evil god ship he had destroyed. He had killed 3 level 5 priests. He believed that no level 4 knight in the East Fleet could achieve such a brilliant result. However, this could not stop the retreat of the East Fleet. Except for the initial charge, the East Fleet had been retreating. The fleet was waiting, and everyone was waiting for the knights to die under pressure, or to be promoted under pressure, breaking this damn decline in one fell swoop. At this moment, the sound of more than a dozen level 5 evil insects flapping their wings made Kedrick's scalp numb. He looked up quickly and saw more than a dozen evil insects above his head. Another level 5 priest targeted Kedrick. He cursed in his heart. With the support of a large number of believers, it was easier for the evil god priests to be promoted than other apostles. As long as the church's high-level officials or the evil god were willing, they could use the power of faith to pile up many priests in a short time. My knights? My soldiers? Where are you? Kedrick turned his head and looked at his ships. Another 80-gun ship sank, and among the remaining 2 80-gun ships, the knights and sailors on one ship had come to the flagship to replace the knights and soldiers on the flagship who had suffered too much loss. Kedrick couldn't bear to imagine the miserable situation under the deck, and didn't know how many of his soldiers could survive. However, now was not the time to be discouraged. Kedrick's body had reached its limit, and his knights and soldiers had also reached their limits. He mustered up his last strength and raised the knight's gun, and all his strength was concentrated on the knight's gun. His sore muscles seemed to have left dozens of torn wounds on his body. The extreme flow filled Kedrick's body. He knew that this was his last attack. Let the evil insects dive, and the long mantis arms pierced Kedrick's chest. Kedrick seemed to be unable to see these attacks. His eyes were fixed on the level 5 high priest on the ship behind him. If he threw this shot, he would definitely be killed by the evil insects, but Kedrick was very sure that the level 5 high priest would also die. Fighting on the battlefield until the last moment, Kedrick had no concept of death. His whole brain was blank. His dull brain had only one thought left, that is, to kill the enemy. The knight's gun was thrown. For some reason, this shot was faster than the previous ones. Before the level 5 high priest could observe the effectiveness of the defense he had laid, he was pierced through the chest by the knight's gun. His entire chest exploded, and his shoulders and head exploded into the sky. This is not a level 5 attack. The level 5 evil insect's mantis arms also failed to penetrate Kedric's chest, because Kedric had been promoted to a level 5 knight. Many people noticed the situation here. A priest shouted, "Take advantage of his short period of weakness during the promotion and kill him as soon as possible." After the knight was promoted, he needed to get familiar with his new body and new strength. The lactic acid accumulated in the muscles made Kedric unable to lift his arm. He wanted to pull out the mantis blade arm that had pierced his chest for several centimeters, but the enemy did not give him a chance. There were too many evil priests around. He did not have time to spend the adaptation period. The 3 level 5 priests around him had already abandoned their opponents and rushed towards Kedric. Death was so close that Kedric saw the erosion beam, the painful spikes, and the evil insects of other priests. Is he going to die? Suddenly, a sound explosion sounded, and a figure appeared in front of Kedric who was half kneeling. "Kedric, why are you so embarrassed?"